Hello, welcome to Manchester United Daily Updates. Before continuing this video, click the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the latest news from Manchester United. How to watch the Premier League match between Manchester United and Nottingham Forest, as well as kickoff time and team news. Ruben Amorim experienced his first setback as Manchester United manager earlier this week, as the team fell to a 2-0 defeat against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. The Red Devils will now aim to recover on Saturday when they host Nottingham Forest, who also tasted defeat in Manchester recently. United's loss on Wednesday saw them struggle offensively, mustering just 2 shots on target after their dominant display against Everton. The result leaves the team in 11th place in the league standings, trailing the top 5 by 4 points. Meanwhile, Nottingham Forest have hit a rough patch, losing 3 of their last 4 matches. Their most recent outing was a humbling 3-0 loss to Manchester City. Despite the recent downturn, Forest sits 6th in the table, just 4 points adrift of the top 4, and will aim to rediscover their rhythm at Old Trafford. Manchester United will have to manage without Luke Shaw, who has suffered a setback in his recovery from a muscle injury and faces another frustrating stint on the sidelines. Moreover, Victor Lindelof is unavailable due to a groin issue. The availability of Johnny Evans remains uncertain after he missed the clash against Arsenal because of an unspecified knock. However, manager Ruben Amorim will be bolstered by the return of Lisandro Martinez and Kobbie Mainoo, both of whom are back in contention after serving 1-match suspensions during midweek. Leny Yoro could be handed his first competitive start in defense, while Amad Diallo, Marcus Rashford, and Joshua Zirkzee, the latter 2 netted braces in a 4-0 demolition of Everton last weekend, are vying for places in the starting lineup. With a congested schedule, Amorim has hinted at squad rotation. Rashford, Diallo, and Yoro, all of whom began the Arsenal game on the bench, could be pushing for starting roles this time. Nottingham Forest team news. As for Forest, they have a nearly full-strength squad at their disposal. However, long-term absentees Ibrahim Sangar and Danilo remain sidelined. Head coach Nuno Espirito Santo faces a tactical dilemma, whether to deploy a 4-man backline or revert to the 3-at-the-back system with wing-backs used in the second half against Manchester City midweek. In midfield, Elliot Anderson is vying for a starting berth, potentially replacing either Ryan Yates or Nicolas Dominguez. In attack, former United winger Anthony Elanga could join forces with Chris Wood, Morgan Gibbs-White, and either Callum Hudson-Odoi or Hoda Silva to spearhead Forest's offensive efforts. Manchester United vs Nottingham Forest. Prediction: kickoff time, TV, live stream, team news, H2H, odds today. Ruben Amorim will look to respond to his first setback in the Premier League at Old Trafford. Manchester United and Nottingham Forest will both be targeting a return to winning ways when they collide in the Premier League today. New boss Ruben Amorim was dealt a first defeat in charge of the Red Devils on Wednesday night, with his side losing 2-0 at Arsenal. That result leaves United down in 13th place, albeit the congested nature of the top-flight table this season means they are still only 4 points off the top 5. Forest, meanwhile, have stalled somewhat of late following an impressive start to the season, and were beaten 3-0 at Manchester City on Wednesday to drop to 7th. Date, kickoff time and venue. Manchester United vs Nottingham Forest is scheduled for a 5:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time kickoff time today on Saturday, December 7, 2024. Old Trafford in Manchester will host the match. Where to watch Manchester United vs Nottingham Forest? TV channel. The game will be broadcast live in the UK on Sky Sports Main Event, Sky Sports Premier League, and Sky Sports Ultra HDR. Coverage starts at 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Live stream. Sky Sports subscribers will also be able to watch online via the Sky Go app. Manchester United vs Nottingham Forest prediction. United did look solid enough at times against Arsenal before being outdone by set pieces. While it remains difficult to fully judge them during an early point of Amorim's tenure, a home win does not feel out of the question here. 5 players could miss Man United versus Nottingham Forest amid double return hope. The very latest injury news ahead of Manchester United's Premier League clash against Nottingham Forest at Old Trafford. Ruben Amorim has been handed a double boost for Manchester United's Premier League clash against Nottingham Forest. After a great start to his career as head coach, Amorim saw his side beaten 2-0 by Arsenal at Emirates Stadium earlier this week, courtesy of 2 corners in the second half. Away from home against a Premier League title challenger, United handled the task very well in the first half, but the Gunners' dominance eventually told. Due to the hectic schedule and 3 major blows coming before the clash, Amorim made a number of starting 11 changes. Mason Mount and Tyrell Malacia were 2 surprising inclusions, with a reshuffle taking place due to Lisandro Martinez and Kobbie Mainoo being absent because of suspension. Both players picked up their 5th yellow cards of the season against Everton the previous weekend and thus had to serve a 1-match ban. Following that, Mainoo and Martinez are expected to return to the Match A squad. However, Luke Shaw will definitely be absent. Having featured off the bench in Amorim's first 3 games, the defender released a statement confirming he had suffered an injury setback ahead of the Arsenal clash. Asked about the new Shaw blow, Amorim said, "What I can say since I arrived, I see him in the medical department working a lot in the gym, working a lot on the pitch. We control the load during the games, during the trainings. He was losing weight, so he was doing everything," he said when speaking on Amazon Prime. "If he continues to do that behavior, he's a top player and we need him. No matter how long he will need, I will be with him. We will help him to return. Not just Manchester United, but your national team needs a guy like Luke Shaw, so we are here to help him." Lenny Yoro, meanwhile, made his Manchester United competitive debut after missing the first few months of the season with a fractured ankle. He played the final 30 minutes at Emirates Stadium and therefore could be in line for a start against Forest, given the defensive injury issues Arsenal are facing. Johnny Evans started Amorim's debut against Ipswich Town, but has not featured in a Match A squad or training session since being replaced in the 56th minute. Victor Lindelof, meanwhile, is edging much closer to a return, with Amorim able to issue a positive update on Friday. Victor returned to training, but is not available for tomorrow. Maybe the next game, he will be available, he said in a press conference. As for Nuno Espirito Santo, he seemingly only has 2 injury absences to deal with following recent returns for the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson. Just 15 minutes into the 2024-25 campaign, Danilo suffered a serious ankle injury, which he has yet to return from. Fellow midfielder Ibrahim Sangar then picked up. Amorim sends indirect warning to Rashford over fan issue, as brutal Man United admission also made. Ruben Amorim has called on Marcus Rashford to acknowledge Manchester United supporters after the forward faced criticism from Red Devils fans following the Arsenal defeat, while Amorim has also made a brutal admission about the state of his team. England forward Rashford was brought on as a second-half substitute as 2 goals from corner kicks from Jurrien Timber and William Saliba sealed the win for Mikel Arteta's side at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday night. Man Utd's players went over to the traveling supporters after the full-time whistle at the Emirates, but footage later emerged showing Rashford walking back towards the tunnel while the rest of his teammates stood applauding. After being questioned on Rashford's actions on Friday, Amorim insisted that all his players should take a moment to show their respect towards supporters. "Of course, we have to do it, especially when we lose. Not when we win, when we lose," Amorim said. "We're going to do that, and everybody has to do it. It's going to be like that." Amorim was also asked if he shared Erik ten Hag's frustration with Rashford over his inconsistent performances. "I prefer to focus on the whole squad. the United manager said. We have a lot to improve, not just Marcus. All the team can improve in every aspect of the game. Like I said before, I think the way we sprint back and sprint forward, the way we fight. It's something we have to be very clear with the team. This is the first point we have to address. And then the technical and tactical aspect will come later. So it's not just Marcus. Everyone has to improve in that area. Meanwhile, Amorim has admitted United are a massive club, but not a massive team, as he continues his mission to try to revive the fallen giants. United's last Premier League title win came back in 2013, when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, with Amorim, the sixth permanent boss, since then to try to take the club back to those glory days. Although United's status as one of the world's biggest clubs is unquestionable, with an estimated global fanbase of 700 million, on the pitch, they have fallen away spectacularly since Ferguson called it a day 11 years ago. Amorim said, "There is no shame in admitting United are no longer a major force on the field, with a challenge for him and his coaching staff to make the club a major force again." I think that is very clear, said Amorim. We're a massive club, but we're not a massive team and we know it, so it's no problem to say it. That perception of United as a massive club will not change, because this club has glories in the past. Our players have to understand that it's a very difficult position. We're not one of the best teams in the league, and we have to say and think that clearly, but our past, our club, is maybe the best one in the league. So here we have a problem. We have to focus on the little things. Manchester United's strongest possible starting 11 versus Nottingham Forest. Having tasted his first defeat as Manchester United manager midweek against Arsenal, Ruben Amorim will be keen to get back to winning ways with an impressive display of football against Nottingham Forest in a home game in the Premier League. The Red Devils are looking to adapt to a new system and build a new project under the Portuguese coach. In all the games under Amorim so far, there have been positive signs, and there has also been some scope for improvement. The only thing Amorim can ask right now is that the players start understanding his system slowly yet surely, and show signs of improvement with every passing game. This will be the focus against Nottingham Forest and, of course, the 3 points. With all this in mind, here is how we think Ruben Amorim can set Man United up against Nottingham Forest, and one would have to assume that he continues with his rotational policy against Nuno's side. In goal, Andre Onana is likely to start in between the posts. This is the only area on the field where Amorim might not show signs of rotating. In front of him, the back three is likely to have Lenny Yoro, making his first start, Matthijs de Ligt through the middle, and Lisandro Martinez, returning from a suspension, from the left. Diogo Dalot is due a rest, and Nasser Mazraoui could start instead of him as the left wing-back. Amad Diallo is almost certain to come in on the right after being rotated out midweek against Arsenal, at least in the first half. Casemiro should replace Manuel Ugarte and partner Kobbie Mainoo, who is also coming back from a suspension. Bruno Fernandes should continue in one of the two attacking roles, just behind the striker, with Marcus Rashford coming on from the left. Through the middle, Joshua Zirkzee is likely to start. He had an impressive display against Everton last weekend, and should replace Rasmus Højlund through the middle. Man United should be looking for the win, and let's wait and see how it plays out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.